Hello, this is a fanfic that is wrote about Natsu Dragneel becoming the Fairytail Guildmaster during the 7-year Tenrou disappearance. Natsu will be extremely OP. Please like the video if you want a part 2 and subscribe for more. Chapter 1, The Rising Star of Fairytail. Everyone, focus all your magical energy on Freed. Lisana's voice cut through the chaos, desperate and determined. Let's hold hands, Mira reinforced her sister, gripping tightly. We can't let it end here, Natsu roared, grasping hands on either side of him. Okay, we'll never give up, Lucy's voice echoed with conviction. Everyone, join your power together as one. Let's show them the bonds of our guild, Gray bellowed, his usual cool exterior shattered in the face of impending doom. Makarov's trembling hand clasped Laxus's, the old man forcing an eerie smile. Natsu looked skyward, watching as Agnologia's breath attack built to catastrophic levels. We won't make it in time, unless we'll all go home together. Makarov's voice wavered, yet it resonated deeply in every heart present. That was when it happened. An explosion of magical energy unlike anything anyone had ever felt before. A golden orange flash cut through the sky, right before the dragon's breath could unleash its devastating force. Natsu! Everyone screamed, but none could move, locked in place by an unknown force. A split second later, Agnologia's attack veered off course, skimming the island rather than obliterating it. The price of that miraculous diversion, Natsu Dragneel, sent hurtling through the air at breakneck speed. 3 days later, Fairytail Guildhall Infirmary. He's waking up, a voice exclaimed, urgent yet relieved. Natsu's entire body ached as his eyes flickered open. What the hell? Romeo, he muttered, blinking at the young boy hovering over him. Then the memories flooded back. Tenrou, Agnologia, Fairy Sphere. Natsu. Suddenly, the room was filled with guild members, those who hadn't been on Tenrou Island, rushing toward him, their eyes misty with emotion. Natsu's gaze darted around. What? How? He struggled to sit up, but Macau pushed him back down, his expression serious. Doranboard found you floating in the ocean while searching the area. He brought you back here on his ship. How long ago was that? Natsu's voice was hoarse, his throat dry. 3 days. A lump formed in his throat. He knew the answer before he even asked the next question. No one else returned, did they? Macau sighed deeply, shaking his head. Troy clenched his fists and stormed out of the room, unable to bear the weight of the loss. One by one, the other guild members trickled out, leaving only Macau and Natsu. What happened on Tenrou, kid? Macau's voice was rough, as if barely holding back his emotions. Natsu sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. A lot, but they're not dead. Macau's eyes widened. You're sure? I have faith that the spell worked. Natsu's voice was firm and wavering. Silence filled the room. Now they're gone, Natsu continued, but they'll be back. And until then, we have to keep the guild going. We need a guildmaster, Romeo piped up from the doorway. A temporary guildmaster, and a plan, Natsu agreed, looking around. Ideas. The guild members exchanged glances, surprised that Natsu had already thought that far ahead. How about you? Romeo suggested, his young eyes shining with admiration. Me? Natsu blinked. Well, let's think about the requirements, Macau said, arms crossed. We need someone who'll protect the guild no matter what. Someone who can always bring us up when we're down. Someone who never gives up. One by one, the guild members spoke up, all smiling as they turned their attention to the still clueless pink-haired dragon slayer. Then Macau dropped the bombshell. Natsu, we want you to be the temporary 4th guildmaster. Natsu's jaw dropped. Me? No way. Macau nodded. Only if you agree. Natsu hesitated, looking around. Every single one of them was nodding. After a long moment, he took a deep breath, then crossed his arms and nodded back. All right. Cheers erupted throughout the guild. So, Wakaba smirked, lighting his pipe. What's a plan, Master Natsu? A guildmaster unlike any other. The next few weeks were like nothing Fairytail had ever seen. Under Natsu's leadership, the guild didn't just survive, it flourished. He took his role seriously, but in the way only Natsu could. Every morning, He woke the guild up with a blazing fire spell, yelling, "Wake up, lazybones, we've got a guild to run." He didn't just command Fairytail, he guided them, inspired them. Unlike previous masters, Natsu made it a priority to personally train the next generation, the youngest members of Fairytail, Romeo, Asuka, the orphans that Fairytail had taken in, idolized him. He didn't just protect them, he taught them. Every evening, he'd gather the younger ones for training, helping them learn magic and battle techniques. "Natsu, I can't do it," Romeo cried, struggling to summon a proper fire spell. Hey, don't say that." Natsu crouched beside him, placing a firm hand on the boy's shoulder. "Magic isn't just about power, it's about heart. Trust yourself." And when Romeo tried again, the flames finally roared to life. "You did it." Romeo beamed, and the other kids cheered. The prodigy dragon slayer. Despite being a guildmaster, Natsu didn't stop growing himself. Ever since Tenrou Island, something had changed within him. He could feel it. His magic was evolving, his mind sharper than ever before. He no longer focused solely on fire dragon slayer magic. He wanted to master everything. Re-equip magic, take over magic, seath magic, even healing magic. Macau caught him one night, reading stacks of ancient magic tomes. "You're really serious about this, huh?" "Yeah," Natsu grinned. "If I'm gonna lead, I need to be stronger than ever. I wanna master as many kinds of magic as I can." Macau smirked. "You really are something else, kid." And he was. Under his leadership, Fairytail was thriving again. But as he sat at the bar, watching over his guild, he couldn't shake the feeling in his gut. Tenrou, Agnese, his friends. They were still out there. And one day, they'd return. Until then, Fairytail was in good hands. Chapter 2, The Road of a True Master. Fairytail Guild Hall, the Master's Decision. The once lively Fairytail Guild had changed in the absence of the Tenrou Group. Without its strongest members, high-ranking jobs piled up, funds dwindled, and morale wavered. Though Natsu's leadership had steadied them, he knew they needed more than guidance, they needed action. Macau, standing beside him at the bar, sighed as he glanced at the request board. "It's been tough, Natsu. The lower-ranked jobs help, but without S-class mages taking missions, the guild treasury is running dry." Natsu crossed his arms, deep in thought. The idea of his family struggling, because they were missing their best fighters, didn't sit right with him. "All right," he said, slamming his fist on the bar. "I'll take care of it." Macau raised a brow. "Take care of what?" Natsu turned to him with a confident grin. "I'm taking an S-class job." Macau nearly choked on his drink. "Hold on. You're the acting guild master, Natsu. You can't just. You'll look after the guild while I'm gone." Natsu interrupted, his tone unwavering. "We need the money, and I'm the strongest one left. I'll handle it." Macau sighed. He knew there was no stopping Natsu once he had set his mind on something. "Fine, but don't do anything reckless." Natsu's grin widened. "Come on, Macau, you know me." "Yet, that's what I'm worried about." A solo S-rank mission. Natsu picked a high-paying S-class job from the request board. Eliminate the Mountain King of Drasva Peak, a rogue magical beast that had been terrorizing nearby villages. The reward, 5 million jewel. But Natsu had another idea. If he completed the job well, he might be able to negotiate an even better reward. With a loud "I'll be back soon," he left the guild behind and embarked on his journey. Drasva Peak, battling the Mountain King. Upon reaching Drasva Peak, Natsu quickly realized the villagers hadn't exaggerated. The Mountain King was a massive, mutated wyvern with 6 razor-sharp wings and molten scales that absorbed magic. Most mages would have been overwhelmed. Natsu grinned. "This is perfect. I need the challenge." The battle raged across the entire mountain, flames and claws clashing against each other. Natsu quickly discovered that normal fire dragon slayer magic wouldn't work. The creature absorbed heat. "Then I'll just use something else." Instead of relying on pure firepower, Natsu switched his fighting style. Using his sharp intellect and growing mastery of different magics, he combined wind magic and earth magic to weaken the beast before finishing it with a devastating lightning fire dragon fist. The wyvern collapsed, defeated. Instead of just claiming his reward, Natsu took extra steps. He used runes to reinforce the village's defenses, ensuring no similar creature would attack again. When the village chief saw his work, he was so impressed that he doubled the payment to 10 million jewel. Natsu left with his pockets full and a satisfied smirk. Maybe being guildmaster isn't so bad after all. An unexpected challenger. On his way back to Magnolia, Natsu took a shortcut through an open field, enjoying the quiet evening breeze. Then, without warning, a sharp gust of wind whipped past him. Natsu skidded to a stop, flames instinctively flaring from his feet. "Boy, what gives?" A man stood in his path, an amused smile on his face. He was tall, wearing a long black coat with silver trim. His presence was overwhelming, like standing before a raging storm. "I sensed something interesting," the man said, tilting his head. "A magic so wild and powerful, I had to see for myself." Natsu blinked. Okay, who are you?" The man chuckled. "You don't know me? I suppose that makes this more fun." Before Natsu could respond, the man vanished, reappearing inches from his face. A split second later, a fist slammed into Natsu's gut, sending him flying. Natsu flipped mid-air and landed on his feet, coughing slightly. His eyes burned with excitement. "This guy's strong, real strong." The man smirked. "Not bad, but let's see how long you can last." Natsu grinned, his blood boiling. "You're on." A battle of titans. The fight began instantly. The man wielded storm magic, manipulating wind, rain, and thunder to create devastating attacks. His speed was unreal, almost as fast as Laxus. Natsu, however, adapted quickly, switching between fire dragon slayer magic, lightning magic, and earth magic. He countered every attack thrown at him, forcing his opponent to change tactics. Minutes turned to an hour. The landscape around them was decimated, flames scorched the ground, lightning crackled in the air, and deep craters littered the battlefield. Despite his opponent's immense power, Natsu refused to back down. And then, with a final, explosive punch, Natsu knocked the man unconscious. A quiet night. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Natsu sighed, stretching his sore muscles. Damn, that was fun. Realizing it was getting late, he gathered some wood and started a small fire, settling in for the night. Sitting by the flickering flames, he glanced at the unconscious man. He still had no idea who he was. Whoever he is, he's crazy strong. Despite that, Natsu had won. His magic, his strategy, his growth, it had all paid off. As he gazed at the night sky, he couldn't help but smile. "I'm gonna master every kind of magic there is, no matter what it takes." And with that thought, he leaned back, waiting for his opponent to wake up. Tomorrow, he'd return to Fairytail, not just as their acting master, but as someone even stronger. Chapter 3: The Rise of a Wizardsant. The fire crackled softly in the quiet night, casting dancing shadows over the open field. Natsu sat cross-legged beside the warmth, staring up at the starlit sky, his body sore but satisfied from the fight. Then, the man groaned. Natsu turned his head as his opponent slowly pushed himself up, rubbing his temples like he had the world's worst headache. "Holy hell, I lost," the man muttered under his breath before his eyes landed on Natsu, who was still watching him curiously. The man froze. Then, realization hit him like a meteor spell. His face paled, his hands trembling slightly. He quickly patted his own coat, looking for something, only to stop when his fingers found nothing. Natsu blinked. You good?" The man stared at him like he'd grown a second head. "You beat me," he mumbled, his voice laced with disbelief. Natsu scratched his head. "Yet, so what? You're strong as hell, man. That was one of the best fights I've had in." "You don't get it," the man cut him off, groaning as he buried his face in his hands. "When a wizardsant is beaten in a one-on-one battle, the title gets transferred, meaning, I'm not a wizardsant anymore, and you." He looked up at Natsu, his expression an unreadable mix of frustration, awe, and resignation. "You're the 7th ranking wizardsant now. The weight of a title." Natsu blinked. Then again. And again. "Huh? The man sighed deeply before standing up, dusting himself off. It's a rule among the wizard saints. You win in a direct fight, you take the rank of the one you defeated. So, congrats, kid, you're officially one of the 10 wizard saints. He reached into his coat, pulling out a pristine white cloak and a silver badge engraved with the number 7. With a heavy sigh, he tossed them to Natsu. Natsu caught the items instinctively, staring at them like they were some kind of puzzle he couldn't figure out. That cloak and badge are yours now, wear them if you want. The former wizard saint stretched, looking completely unbothered, except for the fact that he was pouting slightly. Man, I worked years to get that title, and some random pink-haired kid just comes along and kicks my ass? Hey, I'm not random, I'm Natsu Dragneel, and wait, you're just giving me this, I don't even know who you are. The man groaned. It doesn't matter now, my name was Valmaggia, not like it's important since I'm not a wizard saint anymore. He waved a hand lazily before turning away. Welp, I'm gonna go sulk for a bit. Later, 7th saint. Before Natsu could even process what had just happened, Valmaggia walked away, disappearing into the night. Returning to Fairytail, Natsu stared at the cloak and badge for a long moment. Did I seriously just become a wizard saint by accident? The wind rustled around him, as if answering his question. He looked down at the badge in his palm, his reflection glinting off the polished silver. Makarov was ranked 6th, meaning he was now right behind his old man. The thought sent an excited shiver down his spine. Man, I wish I could tell Gramps. He sighed, shaking his head. The Tenrou Group was still gone, but they'd come back one day, and when they did, he'd show them how much he'd grown. With a grin, he fastened the badge to his belt and threw the white cloak over his shoulders. The fabric felt strangely light yet powerful, flowing behind him like a cape. Taking a deep breath, he sprinted toward the guild. He couldn't wait to tell everyone. Shock and awe, the return of the 7th saint. The doors to Fairytail burst open with a loud bang. Hey guys, guess what? The rowdy guild froze. All eyes turned toward the entrance, and for a moment, no one said a word. Then, what the hell is he wearing? Is that a wizard saint badge? No way, no way. Everyone stared at Natsu, standing there, grinning like an idiot, with a pristine white cloak billowing behind him and a silver badge gleaming on his belt, the symbol of the wizard saints. For the first time in a while, the entire guild was dead silent. Then, no way, Big Brother Natsu's a wizard saint now. Romeo's voice broke the silence, eyes wide with admiration. The other younger kids in the guild immediately lost their minds. So cool. He looks like a hero from a storybook. Big Brother Natsu is the strongest. The tiny guild members swarmed him, tugging at his cloak, climbing on his arms, and bombarding him with questions. Their eyes sparkled like they were meeting a legend. Oi, calm down, I'm still the same me. Natsu laughed, ruffling their hair. The older members of the guild were still stunned. Makan Wakaba's jaws practically hit the floor. Mira Jane blinked. Are we really looking at the 7th ranking wizard saint? Elfman clenched his fists. Natsu is a real man. Laxus's eye twitched. TCH, you mean to tell me Flame Brain got a higher rank than me? What kind of joke is this? Levy adjusted her glasses. It's real. That cloak and badge, they're official. The realization finally sunk in. Natsu Dragneel, the 7th ranking wizard saint. Someone notoriously reckless and carefree had suddenly climbed to one of the highest positions of power in Fury. The guild exploded. We have a wizard saint in Fairytail. Drinks were thrown, confetti somehow appeared, and before Natsu even knew what was happening, the biggest party of the year had begun. A legend in the making. As the night went on, Natsu sat at the bar, watching his guild celebrate around him. He could still feel the weight of the badge at his hip, the responsibility of a title that he never even wanted. But at the same time, he felt proud. For the first time, he wasn't just some hot-headed dragon slayer, he was acknowledged, respected, not just by Fairytail, but by the entire continent. His journey wasn't over. One day, the Tenrou Group would return. He'd get to see Makarov's reaction when he learned his favorite troublemaker was right behind him in the rankings. Until then, He'd prove to the world that Natsu Dragneel, the 7th wizard sant, was just getting started. That's all for today. Please like the video if you want a part 2 and subscribe for more. Also comment ideas for future videos: Harry Potter, the MCU, Naruto, Dragon Ball, Fairytail, and others.